February 1st, 1943, around 11:30 a.m. Skies over the Tunisia area, Tunisia, North Africa. A formation of B-17 flying fortresses from the 97th Bombardment Group presses through heavy anti-aircraft fire. Toward the target, suddenly, an enemy Messerschmitt Bf-109 fighter out of control, perhaps from damage or a wounded pilot, spins wildly upward from below. It slams into the rear fuselage of a B-17 named All-American, piloted by Lieutenant Kendrick R. Bragg. The impact is catastrophic. The fighter's wing slices diagonally through the bomber's fuselage, nearly severing it in half. The left horizontal stabilizer and elevator are completely torn away. Parts of TBF-109 embed deep into the B-17's structure. Metal twisted, wires hanging, hydraulic lines ruptured. The tail section dangles, connected only by a few spars and cables. The bomber shudders violently, yaws sharply, but somehow stays airborne. Bragg fights the controls. The crew, 10 men, stare in disbelief as the tail hangs by threads. No bailout possible. The rear gunner is trapped. The aircraft too unstable, yet the B-17 does not fall. It limps on, engine straining, controls sluggish. The pilot keeps it level, turns toward base in Algeria, over 250 miles away, through flak and fighters. The damaged fortress flies for hours, tail section swaying like a broken pendulum, until it reaches friendly territory and makes a perfect wheels-down landing. How does a B-17, nearly cut in half by a German fighter that embeds itself in its body, fly hundreds of miles and land safely with the wreckage still lodged inside? This is the shocking mid-air collision that produced one of World War II's most enduring photographs. A testament to the flying fortress's rugged design and a crew's refusal to give up when destruction seemed certain. To understand why this moment mattered so deeply, consider the air war in the Mediterranean theater in early 1943. The North African campaign had turned decisively in the Allies' favor after El Alamein and Operation Torch. The U.S. Army Air Force's 97th Bombardment Group Heavy, operating B-170F flying fortresses from bases in Algeria, flew daylight precision bombing missions against Axis ports, airfields, and supply lines in Tunisia. The target on February 1st was the Tunis docks, vital for German and Italian reinforcements to the Afrika Korps. The B-17F was Boeing's workhorse. 4 Wright R-1820 Cyclone engines, 1,200 horsepower each. Defensive armament of 11.50 caliber Browning machine guns and turrets and waist positions. And a reputation for durability. It could absorb massive damage. Self-sealing fuel tanks, armored crew stations, redundant systems, and still fly. But mid-air, collisions were rare and usually fatal. Aircraft were not designed to carry embedded wreckage. During the mission, Hermann fighters Bf-109s from JG-53 intercepted aggressively. One Messerschmitt, possibly damaged by defensive fire, lost control and climbed into the formation. It struck All-American from below and behind. The fighter's wing cut through the bomber's rear fuselage, removing the left stabilizer and elevator, embedding debris, and jamming the tail gunner's position. The impact killed or trapped no one immediately, but the structural damage was severe. The tail hung by spars, cables, and skin. The crew faced impossible odds. No bailout option without killing the trapped gunner. Controls compromised. Aircraft unstable at altitude. Bragg kept the bomber level by trimming and careful throttle work. The formation could not assist. They pressed on to the target. All-American lagged behind, vulnerable to fighters, but no additional attacks materialized. Perhaps the Germans assumed it would crash. The flight back to base in Algeria took hours. The crew monitored systems, jettisoned loose gear, and prepared for crash landing. The B-17's rugged construction, strong wing box, multiple spars prevented catastrophic failure. The embedded fighter parts actually helped stabilize the damaged tail in some way. Acting as a makeshift brace, the incident produced iconic photographs, the B-17 with its tail nearly severed. Fighter wreckage lodged in the fuselage, showing the Flying Fortress's legendary toughness. The safe landing with the entire crew unharmed became legend in the Army Air Forces, highlighting human skill in aircraft design and survival. February 1st, 1943. Approximately 11:30 a.m., skies over the Tunis harbor area, Tunisia, North Africa. The formation of B-17F Flying Fortresses from the 414th Bombardment Squadron, 97th Bombardment Group, flies in tight defensive boxers at 20,000 feet. All American, serial 412-4486. Piloted by Lieutenant Kendrick R. Bragg, holds position in the middle of the group. 10 crewmen manned their stations. Pilot Bragg, co-pilot, Lieutenant G.E. Johnson, bombardier, navigator, radio operator, flight engineer, bow turret gunner, two waist gunners, and tail gunner Sergeant Sam Turner. The bomb run is complete. Bombs have fallen on the docks, flak bursts in black puffs below. Shrapnel pinging off aluminum skin. Hermann Fighters Messerschmitt. BF-109s from JG-53. Harry the formation. 1 BF Santa Nueva trailing smoke from earlier hits. Spins wildly out of control. Its pilot, perhaps wounded or disoriented, cannot recover. The fighter climbs steeply, inverted, and collides with All-American from below and behind. The impact is violent. The BF-109's left wing slices diagonally upward through the B-17's rear fuselage, cutting nearly to the center. The left horizontal stabilizer and elevator are completely torn away. The fighter's cockpit and engine embed into the bomber's tail section. Metal twists, spars, shear, control cables snap. The tail gunner's position is crushed. Sergeant Turner is trapped. The bomber yaws sharply right, rolls, then stabilizes as Bragg instinctively applies opposite rudder and halo. The crew feels the shock, a deafening crunch, and silence, except for wind howling through the gaping hole. Bragg shouts, over intercom, "Everyone okay? Check in." Voices respond, shaken but alive. The tail section dangles, connected only by the right stabilizer, a few longerons, and trailing control cables. The aircraft flies nose high, engines straining to maintain altitude. Bragg trims the controls forward, reduces power on the right engines to counter the yaw. Co-pilot Johnson helps hold the yoke. The formation cannot slow. They must continue to the rally point. All-American lags behind, vulnerable. No fighters attack again. Perhaps the Germans believe it will fall soon. The crew assesses damage. Rear turret useless. Tail gunner trapped but conscious. Hydraulic lines severed. Electrical short sparking. Bragg decides not to bail out. The aircraft is too unstable. Jumping risks, killing Turner in the tail. He turns west toward base at Tel Argima, Algeria, over 250 miles away. The B-17 flies on, tail swaying like a broken pendulum. Altitude bleeds slowly. Bragg keeps it level at 15,000 feet. The crew jettisons loose gear, lightens the load. Waist gunners move ammunition forward. The bomber's rugged construction holds multiple wing spars, self-sealing tanks, redundant controls. Hours pass. Fuel burns. Engines run hot. Bragg maintains trim with constant pressure. The crew talks Turner through the ordeal. "Hang on. We're getting you home. No bailout. No panic. Just steady hands on the yoke." As the Algerian coast appears, Bragg lowers gear and flaps. The aircraft is nose high, speed low. He aligns with the runway at Tel Aviv. Touchdown is firm, wheels slam down. The tail section slams once, then settles. The B-17 rolls straight. Brakes applied gently. It stops on the runway. Ground crew rush forward, stunned. The tail hangs by threads. Fighter wreckage still embedded. Bragg shuts down engines. The crew exits. Tanner freed from the crushed turret. Bruised, but alive, no fatalities. The B-17 stands on the ramp, one of the most photographed examples of aircraft survival in the war. In the minutes after the collision, the Bf-109's wreckage is lodged deep wing spar through the fuselage, engine block embedded, cockpit canopy shattered into the tail gunner's position. The left elevator is gone. The rudder barely responds. The bomber yaws violently right, rolls 45 degrees, then snaps back as Bragg applies full left rudder and aileron. The tail section sways, connected by only the right stabilizer spar and a few control cables. Wind howls through the 20-foot gash. Loose debris tumbles out. Bragg shouts over intercom, "Hold her steady. Don't bail." The crew checks in. All alive. Tail gunner Turner, trapped in the crushed turret, reports in. "I'm okay, just stuck. Bailout is impossible. The aircraft would tumble if anyone jumps." The formation flies on. All-American drops back, alone. Bragg trims nose down, reduces power on the right wing engines to counter yaw. The B-17 stabilizes at 15,000 feet. He turns west, toward base. The crew works. Jettison. Loose equipment. Move. Wait forward. Monitor engines. The embedded fighter parts paradoxically help the wreckage braces. The damaged tail, preventing complete separation. The flight takes over 3 hours. Altitude bleeds slowly to 10,000 feet. Fuel is critical. Bragg leans mixtures carefully. No fighters attack. Perhaps the Germans assume the bomber will crash. The crew talks constantly. Encouragement to Turner. Status checks calm voices in the chaos. Near the coast, Bragg descends. Gradually, he lines up with the runway at Tel Aviv. Gear and flaps down. The aircraft is nose high. Stall speed increased by damage. Touchdown is hard. Wheels slam onto perforated steel matting. The tail section bangs once, then settles. Brakes applied gently. The B-17 rolls straight. Stops. Ground crew surrounds the aircraft. Jaws open. The tail dangles. Fighter wreckage still embedded. Bragg shuts down engines. The crew exits, one by one. Turner is freed from the turret. Bruised ribs. No broken bones. Medics wait. The crew is checked. Released. No fatalities. The B-17 is towed to a hangar for inspection. Photographs are taken. The image of the nearly severed tail with embedded Bf-109 becomes one of World War II. It's most iconic. The aircraft is repaired, new tail section installed, wreckage removed. It returns to service. The crew receives commendations. Bragg is awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross. The incident proves the B's legendary durability. Multiple load pads, redundant controls, strong airframe, and the crew essay. Composure under impossible conditions. The lesson is clear. Even when destruction appears certain, skill and calm can prevail. The bomber did not fall because the crew refused to abandon it. They flew the impossible, a B-17 with the German fighter inside, and brought everyone home. Lieutenant Kendrick R. Bragg eased the throttles back on All-American as the wheels touched the perforated steel runway at Tel Aviv, Algeria, that afternoon of February 1st, 1943. The B-17 rolled straight, brakes applied gently, and came to a stop on the center line. The engines wound down to idle, then silent. The crew sat for a moment, breathing hard, staring at one another in disbelief. No one had died. No one had bailed out. The bomber that had been nearly cut in half still sat intact beneath them. Ground crew rushed forward, ladders clanging against the wings. They stared up at the tail section, hanging by a thread of spars and cables. The left stabilizer gone. Dimissessamite, BFA 109's wreckage still lodged deep in the fuselage, like a spear. The tail gunner, Sergeant Sam Turner, was freed from the crushed turret, bruised, shaken, but able to walk. Medics checked the crew one by one. Cuts, bruises, no broken bones. Bragg stepped down last, hands still gripping the yoke marks on his palms. He looked back at the aircraft that had refused to fall. Photographers arrived quickly. The images were taken from every angle. The gaping wound in the rear, the embedded fighter parts, the tail dangling like a broken limb. Those photographs spread through the Army Air Forces, tend to world proof that the B-17 Flying Fortress was more than metal and engines. It was a machine that could endure what should have destroyed it. All-American was towed to a hangar, repaired over weeks. New tail section, fresh spars, the wreckage carefully extracted. The bomber returned to combat, flew more missions, survived the war. The crew received commendations, Bragg the Distinguished Flying Cross, others air medals. They spoke little of it afterward. In interviews years later, Bragg was matter of fact. We just flew the plane home. That's all we could do. Turner remembered the terror of being trapped in the tail. The wind howling through the hole, but also the calm voices over intercom telling him to hang on. The incident became legend in the 8th Air Force, and beyond one of the most dramatic examples of aircraft durability and crew resolve. The B-17's design, multiple load paths, redundant controls, armored crew stations had saved them. The crew's composure, refusing to abandon a trapped man, maintaining control through hours of flight, had finished the job. This is not a story of heroics in the classic sense. It is one of quiet endurance when everything screamed to give up. A bomber nearly bisected, a German fighter embedded in its body, a tail held by threads, and 10 men who simply kept flying. They did not fight the damage. They worked with it. They did not abandon their gunner. They carried him home. The plane that should have crashed landed safely because the crew refused to let it. In war, machines break, bodies fail, hope fades. Yet sometimes, against every reason, something holds. All-American held. The crew held. And because they did, 10 men walked away from what should have been the end. I've just said what's recorded in history. You should find out the real truth yourself. We have written the sources from which we got this story in the description of this video. And we have always been and will be supporters of the oppressed, regardless of their color, race, or country. This world and its creator are also with the oppressed. If this incredible mid-air collision and the safe landing with a fighter still inside gripped you, drop a like. Share your thoughts in the comments. Could you have kept flying that plane? And subscribe for more forgotten World War II stories. Hit the bell so you never miss the next WWII story.